So it's the Saturday after the last video, and I'm back out now. I've got all the welding supplies, they've arrived, so I'll be able to start work on the bits of the chassis that I need to weld and repair, mainly the overriders at the front. So I'm going to wheel out the car today, get it out in the garden, get all the stuff out the way so that I can set the chassis up in the middle of the garage and start making templates of the bits I need to weld and cutting out the bits I need to cut out. And then hopefully I'll be able to cut some patches out of the metal I've got and go. But before I do that, I'll show you what's arrived. I managed to get a proper cylinder of gas for my welder, Hobby Weld 5, which, you know, most people know is the sort of go-to gas for welding at home, with my MIG 140T, which is that's a really good welder for its price. I think it was about 200 quid I paid for it, and it's I managed to weld sills on the car last year, and it was good penetration. It didn't burn through very much. Then over the back there, I had to get the sheet cut in half because it wouldn't fit in the van, but I've got a full sheet of mild steel plate, which is going to be used for pretty much repairing the whole entire car. And behind it, which you can't see because it's stacked at the back, some 2mm plate, which I'm going to use for the bottom of the bottom of the overrides, etc., because slightly thicker metal. I believe that most of the chassis is 2mm, well, it might be more than 2mm, but the overriders and the front cross piece, and that's all definitely 2mm. I think the main chassis rails are 5mm, but yeah, those bits are definitely 2mm on there. So I'm going to set the camera up and get to work on getting this car out of the garage. So I'm working on the next bit, which is going to be the replacement for where the front lower valence attaches, and I'll show you that now. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of pitting in that, so what I've done is I've got a piece of card. I don't know if I can see. I've got a piece of card lined up with the edge and then folded it round. So yeah, I've marked out the two guides for the front lower valence part, the corner piece, and I'm not sure what that's actually called, but I'll figure that out. But it's, you know, the lower piece that attaches to that, you know, where the indicator is, etc. So I'm going to cut this template out now, and then I think I'll probably be able to cut this one out with the shears. They weren't working so great before, but I think it's probably just because I wasn't putting enough pressure on them to push them forward. So I will put you back on the camera stand and we'll get to that now. Okay, so I've been out to the shop and I've got some thin 0.8mm cutting discs so that I can get this off, because the problem is the grinder it had big fat discs, but this is razor thin, so hopefully I'll be able to cut through this pretty damn easy. Let's set the camera up so you can get a good angle. Okay, so it has taken a bit longer than I hoped to get one piece welded on, but it's been probably 12 months since I used a welder, and you know, I was trying to figure out what the right settings were, and I thought, oh, I've got 30 amps, which is the lowest it goes. I thought it's not going to need more than 30 amps, but then I wasn't getting the penetration, so I switched it up to 43 amps. You know, thinking that, you know, it's just not enough heat to penetrate the way I wanted it to, but then that still didn't seem to have the effect I wanted. I realised I had the wire speed a bit too slow. But if I turn it around now, as you can see, welded on, looking nice and sweet. It's about the right shape. Maybe it's a little bit tucked in at the back. You know, you can see that it's not quite where it needs to be, but it's good enough for what's going on with this anyway, you know what I mean. That side, I've got obviously there's no holes in this side yet, because I'm actually going to wait to put the holes in until after I've got everything else assembled, because I don't want to just measure the holes off the old piece I cut out, because I don't know if the piece that I've made is going to be exactly right, and I don't want to run out of adjustability when it comes to reassembling the body. Now obviously I've not put that side on yet, but I'm not going to do that today, just for the fact that it's getting late now. I've got some other stuff I've got to do, but I'm going to leave the chassis set up tonight. I'm going to leave the car in the garden under the tarp. You have to bring the bonnet back in, but I don't really want to because it weighs a bloody ton, and I bet I can't get it past the car. I'm going to have to bring the bonnet back in though, and I'll stick that back here on this wall, and then yeah, tomorrow I should be able to come out and weld that other piece on.